All right, next player we're going to do today, we got Demetrius. Demetrius just transferred back into our school district, and we're excited to have him. He's a good athlete, plays on the soccer team. He'll probably be our quarterback for our 8th grade team next year. He's 7th grader. Interesting profile, good athlete, natural athletic movement, but definitely one of those kids who has a wake-up call when he realizes that he has to lift and do speed and strength workouts and work on tapping into that physicality. Sometimes the kids are the best athletes at this age. It can go two ways. They can get obsessed and really tap into that athleticism, realizing that what they're seeing at this age is really just it's foreshadowing of what could be. It's nowhere near the peak. But there's also a lot of kids that get real comfortable being the best at age 12, and they don't work to be better, and by high school they're getting passed up by kids who worked harder. Demetrius is one of those kids that hopefully falls into the first category because he's a really good natural athlete, and I know that us coaches are really excited to work with him this year. So let's start taking a look at a couple of his swings here. Quiet setup. He's still a little drifty. You can see he needs to get a little bit more out of his legs, but I like the way his hands work. Keeps them back even though they start. You'll see his hands, they kind of remind me of Derek Jeter a little bit. And first off, don't get a big head. That's not what I'm saying, is that you're the next Jeter. But Jeter was one that would really keep that barrel or that knob pointed basically straight up and down and really push his hands to the ball. He was so good at staying on the inside of the ball, but he sacrificed power. He wasn't a guy that was trying to hit 30, 40 home runs, so he really was just trying to get barrel to the ball. Good weight distribution here in the setup, but you'll see that he kind of abandons this weight distribution here at the swing. Hands stay back in the swing even though they're not back in the load. There is no load yet. It's a quiet load. It's just a pushing of the hands. It does set his hands up to come down off that shoulder correctly and go straight to the baseball. But again, watch those legs here. Good setup. Gets fired, but then all the weight goes. See? All the weight goes. That's too much hands. We got to get some legs going. Got to learn to fire those hips. That front hip is wide open and leaking. Knees out. Right? So it's basically all swings, all the swing is hands and wrists now, which fortunate enough, he's got the good hand-eye coordination here. I'll see a couple more swings here. Again, decent setup, quiet hands. Needs to figure out how to get those legs working, though. Turns the knee, but then completely abandons the lower half mechanics. So again, turns the knee slightly. But again, all the weight's forward, trying to keep the hands back, trying to keep the barrel behind the hands. His hands are good, his eyes are good, but really you can see not enough torque. Getting really, really pushy with those hands. And that's essentially what it is. It's just a singles hitter swing right now. But I'll tell you, if he can learn to stay behind that baseball a little bit, while engaging the legs, the power can come out. Because he's staying behind, even though it's a pushy. Again, the hands don't load. They come right off the shoulder like they should, but I'd like to see maybe a little bit more tension. Get that barrel above the head. If not, let's get creeped down in our load a little bit. Let's get sunk down in our load a little bit and see if we can get some more out of those legs and allow, if our hands are going to be that quick, let's allow that weight to stay back and stay out of that drift. This is a little better here. We can see the hands trying to work through. But again, just not enough. Kind of just spinning on that heel a little bit, spinning on that toe. So, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like his swing reminds me a little bit of Derek Jeter, just with the hands. There's more in there. Like I said, you can see decent setup. There's a little bit more out of the hands there. I like that we're getting a little bit more athleticism out of the hands there. He's shaking them a little bit, and he's back to a pushy swing. So that's kind of the right idea. But let's go ahead and pull up the Derek Jeter analysis. I got two here that we're going to look at. The first one here is just what I wanted to just show you what I was talking about with the hands. So see how his hands, they don't really point back at that catcher's mitt. They stay high, point down at that plate. But the elbow separation is great. The elbow separation is great. Head is down on the ball. Barrel is behind the hands. This ball's probably going to right field. Yep. Stays down through it. But look, that's where the difference is down here in these legs. That's what we're not getting out of Demetrius. So if we look at, this is a home run swing of Derek Jeter's. It's, the hands kind of tension a little bit more. He must have known, the count must have been in his favor. He could hit a home run or two for sure. But you can tell he probably cocks the hands a little bit more. Foot comes down. There's more of the classic bat path from Jeter. Knob of the bat to the ball. Watch the legs, though. It's not over-exaggerated, but look, getting up off that toe, firing those hips, that front leg buckles. And the thing I really want you to see with this swing, too, and it looks like a right field home run, too, is watch his head throughout the whole swing. Watch how still it is. It's that centrifugal force where once that foot goes down, he decides his stride length, drops that heel, and that everything spins on the axis of that head. It's like there's a pole driven right down through that head, and the whole body rotates around that single point. It's a brilliant swing. I was never a Yankees fan at all. I was actually a Baltimore Orioles fan. But again, watch your head a little bit. We come back and we come forward. Look at that head moving. Back and dipping and diving, right? And that's an outside pitch too, so it shows you got your hands work well, but look where you're meeting it. Barrel out in front of the hands. Hands behind the barrel. That's no good. You want barrel behind the hands. That outside pitch, let that travel back here. Trust those hands. Keep that weight back and swing through that baseball. So, again, don't get it in your head that you're the next Derek Jeter. A lot of times, some of these kids, it's like, oh, yeah, Coach Cook, he thinks I'm like next Derek. No, there's only one Derek Jeter. You can be the best you that you can be. Y'all are 12. It's going to take a while to figure out, what you're going to be, how hard you're going to work, how you're going to grow. But there again, hands and the barrel, barrel's behind the hands. Very important to understand the difference here. Most potential Demetrius' swing, no doubt, is the hands. That's probably my favorite part of the swing. They're quiet. I don't mind that. He's going to be a singles hitter if that's the way. Like, there's a good line drive swing. There's some flexion. He's got potential. There's some flexion in those wrists. I like those hands and wrists. We just got to get the rest of the body going. So, great athlete. He could be really good for us. We'll see how hard he works. This is Coach Cook signing out.
Outfield holler, it's cut off, and you see him in the stands? Yeah, see him on the band. Yeah. Throw the ball, kid. Here we go. And I heard that coach, even though they have a lot of kids.
There you go. You're all right.
Stay back. Yep. Do it again. Still reaching. Go right field. Let that ball get to you. There you go. Keep trying to go to right field.